Alright, I'm here wiring up. What I have here is some number 10 TNN interior wire stranded. Okay, it's number 12 stranded. And it's just regular, it comes in the spools. I got this on clearance for like $25 for whatever, 500 foot roll or whatever it was. 300 foot roll. Big roll. It's like a $150 roll. They had it on clearance for 25 bucks at Lowe's. I bought it up. It's just the wrong color. I guess nobody ever bought it. So I am really thankful. So what you do is you get your little crimpers, MC4 crimp terminals there. And here's the crimpers. I got them on the river. You can get them other places. I think you could even get them at the box stores in the electronics. I'm not sure. But first thing is get you some of those right there. Just regular old wire strippers. You will be so thankful you got them. They're only a few bucks, especially at Harbor Freight. Get them. They save you. And they have, see that's the number 10 right there, number 12, 14. You just put whatever size wire right on there and it strips really quickly and it does a good job. You're not using a razor blade, and it just get the wire strippers if you're going to do any amount of wiring at all. And you got to have the crimper and the terminals. So you have a skinny one, which is actually the female, and a large one, which is the male. They're actually backwards from what you would think, but anyway, you see the difference? Small and large. So you will get your crimper. I don't know if I'll be able to get this. Pardon the camera work. This is going to work here. You get your crimper and you put it on the rounded side. Anyway, you want to make sure to do this part right. Just drop my crimper. Okay. So you got that. And you got that. And a little extra wires put down inside the tube there. So now and then you crimp it. Now you see how it has that little W shape on the bottom? That's where your ears go. Your ears go right there, like that. Put the round part to the round part and the ears like that. See that? Then you will get your wire when I find it. And again, hopefully you're getting that. You get it in place. See that? And then you just, and it rolls it over. Crimps it nice and pretty. Well, if I would have been watching, that's messed up. See how I got the extra wire? I couldn't tell because of the way I was doing it, but that wire is supposed to go down inside the tube, like this one. So I will just trim those off. Anyway, now, female connector, and that one takes the smaller one, right? Make sure I'm doing that right. I always get this part mixed up. So you have a male and a female. If I remember correctly, the male takes the big one. Let's go ahead and go for it. So you're just going to loosen this thing up. I'm not sure if you're supposed to take it off or not. Oh, just bend these wires back. That'll be all right. I just bent those wires back instead of breaking them off. Anyway, you push it until it snaps in. And all, there it goes. So that was, there's my male, there's your female. Again, that's the smaller one. Push it until it snaps. Tighten it. And now you have two ends, and this wire will, that's just one. Now I would hook the panel to that, and then I'm going to strip the other end. This is just a hook to that way I'm not cutting the connectors that are already on the panel. And then I'll just run this wire and do the same thing again to the next set, and then I'll wire all this stuff together. And after you are dealing with just bare wire ends, the way this is, it'll keep you from reversing your polarity. Because it's just a good fail-safe, easy, and it's nice to have these. But they're also a pain to work with. If you're going to be outside where you need to be waterproof, use them. If you can get inside, you don't have to use them inside. So I'm just going to use wire nuts. So I'll get two of these, and two of these, and then I'll wire, get the cut in and wire it, and then there'll be 3 wires, and then I'll run that wire all the way down to the main junction where I run when I get to that piece of number 8. I'm going to run these number 10s to a number 8 and then make the long run with the 8, because I have it and it'll help me get less of a drop. So anyway, if you do use indoor wire, you can jump up a size or down a size for the same amount of money, I'm thinking. I haven't checked all the prices, but I think PV rated 12, you could probably buy indoor rated 10 for the same price and just run it inside, or put it in conduit if you want to go to that much trouble. It just depends on your installation. My installation is going to allow for this. So I suggest just going to wire nuts if you can, and just like regular electrical junction boxes and the little metal clamps and all that, you know, where you, like on a breaker box, you have the little lugs you can tighten, the little, it's got 2 screws on it and it clamps it, and you can just get cheap little handy boxes or whatever, way cheaper than all of that expensive solar stuff. So I don't know, I'm doing it. I don't know if it's against code in some places. I don't know if it's going to be worth your trouble, but to me, I have a lot of this other regular electrical stuff, so I'm going to save a lot of time and a lot of money just doing it this way. So anyway, think about it. So I'm up here and I've snapped on a couple of my little connectors on 2 panels now. It occurs to me that I could have used number 12 on just these little pieces, because that's, the 12 is on the panel and I'm just adding like 6 inches. So I could have used 12, but I had this little scrap piece here, so there's not much to it. I'll just keep cutting it up and using the 12. But if I used, I mean the 10s, if I would have used 2 12s and 1 10, it would have been a little less going into a wire nut, and it really wouldn't have made a difference. So I would suggest just doing, if you're just extending that just a little bit, I'm just trying to get a bare wire basically without taking the connector off. So you can just go with whatever gauge is on your solar panel next, if you're doing it, and then you would jump it down to your next size. So this would all be 12, and then jump it to a 10 when you branch them together, when you put the wire nut on. So you have, see, this is the negative and this is the negative. So you put those together, and then you put, those would be number 12s, and then you would get a piece of number 10, which is this, and that would be that what takes you down. And that my 8 or my 10 is going to go down there to the end of the panel when I put one more on, down that way somewhere, about 20 feet. So I'm going to have about 20 feet of, yeah, that might be more like 15 feet, 5, 10, between 15 and 20 feet. And then I'll jump over to a piece of number 8. And that additional 20 feet or whatever, 30, 25 feet maybe 25 feet, will all be number 8. So I'm going to be, well, doing pretty good on the wire size, I think. As small as this array is, it's, you know, only 1800, 1900, whatever, 1920 watts. And it probably won't all be wired together. So we'll see. I'm not sure yet. It depends on how much that deep freezer needs, because the well pump only needs 1 panel. So I might just wire one. If I use that last panel down there and just run that straight to the well pump on its own. The problem is the battery bank. I'm trying to tie in the battery bank to everything. So anyway, I'll figure all that out. I don't know at this point, to be honest. Anyway, just it occurred to me about that wire size. I wanted to share that. Anytime, use the wire size that you need to use, but don't use more than you need, because it's going to cost you more money than you actually need to spend. So anyway, it is confusing. It's a lot to learn, but you can do it. There's only so many sizes of wire. Most of what you're going to be dealing with, when you get down to the batteries themselves, that's like 0 or 2, maybe 4. And anyway, you just go 6, 8, 10, 12. 12 is at your panels, and every time you go so far, 20 feet, and drop down to the next wire size, you'll get it. Just count by 2s, go backwards, and just know your house wiring, like your lights, switches, and all that, mostly is 14. Most of your receptacles are 12, and then you can get 10 into like maybe an air conditioner or a big freezer or something, and then you can get 8 for a stove maybe 6 for a stove, and just even a 4. But 4 is more going to be for like if it's copper. You're not going to use 4 a lot on a dryer, I don't think, or stove. So anyway, just to kind of give you an idea of the sizes of wire that you need. It's manageable, and you'll learn it. It's just, don't let that stop you. At any rate, I'll talk to you in a little bit. I'm up here wiring these together, so I got 3 number 10s right here, and I'm going to use a gray cap. I got that bag of caps at Habitat for Humanity for $1. So that's how I'm going to, let me get it started. So anyway, you get it started and you get it as tight as you can. Make sure it starts twisting the wires. You really get it torqued on there. So this is how it's running into the roof. And it'll slide back up and give me a little slack, and I'll put some rubber edging on there to keep the wires from getting cut by the edge of the metal and make sure everything is going to be fine over the years. But basically that's my junction. Now I am buying these connectors, but they're not very much when you buy them in bulk. What I'm not having to buy is those Y connectors. This is taking the place of one of those Y connectors. And if you put 4 of these, it would take the place of a 3-way or a 4-way. You'd have to get like a blue cap, the bigger cap. Or you could use junction boxes and all that. I'm not doing that. I'm just going to use these twist ties. This whole thing will be my junction box. If I have a problem, I just pop this piece off and I can get in there and make sure they're still twisted on tight and all that. So, and I wanted to show you I rounded up a bunch of scrap, and I'm going to try to use it. It's all number 10. You can read on the wire what size. Sorry. So where's it at? It'll say AWG. There it is. UL AWG 10. Or it'll say 12. And once you get used to working with it, you can just tell by looking at the size what it is. And if you're using used wire, you can get an ohm meter and check the resistance on the wire, make sure it's good, and physically check the whole length of the cable, make sure there's no cracks or cuts or anything, kinks in your wire, just to make sure you don't have problems with it when you're using used cable especially. I'm going to run this the way my greenhouse is built here. I'm just going to run that wire across the top of my rafters there, and it'll go back down that way. So anyway, it's about time for me to go drop off my head, so cylinder head. So I will talk to you later.